welcome to Lessons Learnt. I'm Sherry. This is Finish It Friday. We're going to see what I finished and what some of you have finished. So it's a little quilt show, if you will. When I left you on Wednesday, we were doing our C and D blocks on the sew along, the scrappy celebrations sew along. I hope you're moving along with those. At least have your A's and B's done by now. I know some of you are a little behind because of not having the magazine or the pattern, but you will get caught up. Don't worry. Nobody's gonna run off and leave you. You can pick up this project anytime you like and finish it at any point. You know how quilt projects are. We start and stop and start again, and sometimes they sit for a while and then we start again, and sometimes it's even years later. I hope we don't do that, but it can happen and it's okay. So don't worry. Don't get stressed out if you're behind. You will get your project done eventually. But yeah, Wednesday's video was the C and D blocks, and yeah, I got those done. So next week we'll just move right on to E and F and get going on this quilt. It's getting big already. We've got, let's see, how many blocks do we have? We have 12 and 10, right? 12 and 10. So we've already got 22 blocks finished. Can you imagine? It's a big quilt. So there's a lot more to do, but we'll get there. Also, I long-armed something. I long-armed the Hazel's hat. And I have a little video that I can insert here where you can see it a little bit better. And I'd give you all the details about it. So I'll put that right here. It's nice and breezy today. Here is Hazel's hat, all finished, all quilted, bound, done. So this is about 63 wide, I think, and somewhere around 80 long. Forget exactly. That's how it turned out. If you remember, this was a fusion of patterns by Lori Holt. Haberdashery is the hats. Millie's Dresses is the dresses. And I discovered this morning that I have one dress that's of a little bit different style. Can you see it? Oh well, it gives it a little whimsy. Let's get a closer look. I like how this turned out. It's always a risk messing with patterns, but I added the dashes in between the rows, and I also did my corners a little different so that I could get them to work out. But I think it's enough to make it make sense. The fabric is by Heather Peterson. It's called Market Street. And the quilting is a clover pattern. I forget exactly what it's called. Trailing clover, something like that. I'm not sure. Field of clover? I don't know. I just thought it looked really cute. I did a scrappy binding with the leftovers, and I tell you, I just about used all the leftovers. I think I did not cut into 2 of the fat quarters from the fat quarter bundle. And also the background is one of Heather Peterson's. Forget what it's called. I want to say thatched, but I don't think it's thatched. But it has a little bit of a, I don't know, a linen-y look to it. Here's the back. This is also a Heather Peterson, but it is from a different line of hers. But it goes well. The same shades are in there. I'm trying to think, something garden. I don't remember. Spring Garden? No. I don't know. But I thought it looked cute. Found that online somewhere and got that for the backing. So this is one I'm really happy with. I didn't have any trouble with the long arming this time, and I did learn a little bit about cropping off the bottom of the pattern. Sometimes you fill, well, all the time, you fill the quilt space with the entire pattern, and then you usually make it run beyond. And I had it quite a bit beyond, and I didn't want to stitch all that out. So even though there was room enough to do it, I learned how to box that off and then erase that part and then just finish the bottom out even with the edge. So there we go. I can't figure out which of these dresses I love the most. I think this one I made first and I liked it, but I also like this one, and then I also like that one. They're all great. Love this line of fabric, Market Street by Heather Peterson. It's not new, it's not too awful old. You might still be able to find it. And then also I used a Omni thread by Superior that is called Natural. And then there's my scrappy binding. Okay, and then the other thing I've worked on, obviously, is my little lilac heart project, and I just couldn't get that last one. It's not the last one. I was trying to get 16 done, and I just ran out of time today, but I'm going to make it bigger than this. It'll be probably another, probably 2/3 bigger than this. So I'll probably go over at least 6 hearts and then down 7 or 8. So I've got quite a few more to do to get to that size. So it's easy. I just kind of fit them in here and there. I'll do 2 or 3 and, you know, just kind of keep it going that way. And then also, even between this project and everything else that I have going on. Oh, first though, I wanted to tell you that I did work on the berry wreath, the Tilda berry wreath. I had all of those squares, or I think they're 3-inch squares, and all of them have flip and sew and flips on each corner, 4. So I did 2 sets of those one day. So I think I have 3 more little stacks to do of 3 different prints. And then I can start putting all those blocks together. But I'm still a ways off. That's just kind of being fit in between as well. I also fit in between these 2.5-inch square strip blocks. And I'll just show you the ones that I've done. These are just scraps from my 2.5-inch strip bin. And here's another one. That one has Tilda in it. Tilda and Tim Holtz. That's quite a combination, isn't it? One like this. This is from that quilt I just did last week and got finished. Not the blue, but the print one. I got 2 of those. And then I got 2 of these. This was just scrappy. And then I think I may have showed you the Felicity one last week, didn't I? Yeah, I think so. So I did a few of those, just kind of throw that in as to break up from one project to another. You know, I don't know if you're like this, but I can't just power through a project. Like a lot of you could just go through and do these hearts and just not stop. I can't do that. I do 5 or 6 maybe, and then I have to kind of move on to something else and then back to it, that sort of thing. So, yeah, I think that's all I've touched this week so far since last Friday, Monday, whenever it was that I talked about what I was doing. All right, let's get into your projects that you've gotten finished. Got quite a few here and very nice little show. Okay, first here I have Dee Dee. Okay, she made one of the notebook covers with a zipper pocket on it. She says, I was determined to start and finish at least one project today. This was last Friday. I surprisingly accomplished it with this composition book cover. My lady friend liked the covers I made for my composition book and said the snap closure is a nice thing to have, so I put my thinking cap on and was able to get it done. I already had fabric I knew she would like, zippers and snaps I've had for a really long time, and happy to find projects to use them. Thanks again for the pattern and inspiration for a quick gift. Yeah, I just gifted one of those this week. So I still have a few that I had made back when we were scrap busting in September, whenever it was, I don't remember. But I see how you put the little tab on there with the snap. Very good. And the zipper pocket is very handy. Mine does not have either of those things. Mine only has the cover and the ribbon. But Dee Dee has added some things here that are very helpful. And then let's see, Michelle. We have several Michelles, but this one does all of the donation quilts from donated scraps. So she has a friend here showing her quilt that she made from leftover itty bitty pieces. And she says this quilt was done by the lady on the right. She is the holder of 4 PhDs and still gets called back to help in crisis areas with her medical skills at over 70 years of age. This quilt is made completely using other quilt project leftovers. This one is her first of 3 that she will be making, and she loves to use triangles in her designs. I can see that. It looks like you grabbed her for the picture when she was getting ready to put the border on, but I'm glad you showed us this. There is a lot of little pieces there, all those 9 patches and hourglasses, and then there's 2 borders of the half square triangles that she's using, and then 2 more solid borders for the outside. So that's a work of art right there. Very nice. And I hope she is feeling the relaxation of doing quilting versus her other career, which is, I imagine, is quite hectic. Kayleen, she says, I have tops finished for 2 wall hanging projects to share this week. A barn star, a carpenter star, I believe, and the sewing machine is a pattern called Stitch Happens. The fabric pull was a lot of fun for Stitch Happens. Fat Quarter Shop has art gallery fabric solids on sale all month, so I ordered fabric for a pattern called Annabelle in all AGF instead of Kona. It feels so nice, and so far I really like working with it. I might be converted to AGF now. Yeah, it is. They have that on their selvage. It says, feel the difference. There is a big difference. So your first one here in all of the aquas and blues with the K fabric, the big carpenter star, very effective the way you used colors in that. I love that. And then the sewing machine, very cute. I've seen this pattern. Wasn't this a Missouri Star pattern? I don't think you mentioned that. Stitch Happens is what it's called. But yeah, I'd like to make one of those sewing machines sometimes. I've seen them. I've seen this pattern. Very nice finishes, Kayleen. And then Anne, she says, here is another quilt finish for one of my colleagues from school. The fabric is Be Grateful by Deb Strain, and the pattern is the Milky Way. It was made from a layer cake and some extra fabric from a stash. I've always wanted to do the Milky Way pattern, but I'm not entirely pleased with how this turned out. But it is done. I'm proud of my quilting. I think I'm improving with freestyle. Yeah, it looks great to me, Anne. I don't know what you don't like about it, but it looks very good to me. And if you look at that pattern, it's not as hard as it looks. It actually consists of half square triangles, 4 patches, and then some solid bigger squares. So not too awfully bad, but wow, that pattern really makes it look like you did something hard. And I'm not minimizing the work you put on it, but talking about your quilting, you really are doing well with that too. It's a very complicated looking quilt, so you should be very proud of how that turned out rather than not entirely pleased. I think you should be very proud of it, and your colleague that gets it will love it. Giselle says, I finally finished the Cafe Facet birthday quilt for my friend's 70th birthday. Not my fabric comfort zone, but it's surprisingly lovely. Who knew? I used a pattern called Parisienne from Fabric Cafe Fat Quarter Book. Was not easy for me, but challenged me, especially after my spring hand surgery. She said, where there's a will, ... So, yeah, where there's a will, there's a way. And I'm hoping that you're still recuperating well from your hand surgery, and you'll be back at it full force soon. But I love this Cafe quilt. This is exactly something I would do, and it looks like I bet you made that a little bit bigger than what the Fabric Cafe had in the pattern, I would guess. And I probably would do that too. It's beautiful. I love it. Deb, she made this for her nephew and his bride. The pattern is Blooms something. Can't exactly remember the name. A lot of names are the same for some of these quilt patterns. Can't find the pattern in the mess of my sewing room, and a Robin Pickens line by Moda with a few added blenders. I love this. I love the pattern. I love the colors that you pulled for it. Your free motion quilting is awesome. I would totally make this pattern. I should look that up. Blooms something. Gorgeous. Victoria says this is a switch up for a potato chip quilt. The quilting I did on my domestic machine. The gentle wave is really the only pattern I feel confident using. Yeah, when I was doing that on my domestic machine, I liked the wavy pattern. It was easy to do, and you could also run them in and out of each other, and it just looked like you were an artist, but you know, I'm not. And she says she sews with a group called Sisters in Stitches, and they have given over 150 quilts to friends who are having a rough time. And she says she enjoys the channel. That's wonderful that you have that group. I'd like to meet you all someday. I really would. Maybe we can Zoom. Dolores has something that she finished for her neighbor. Her neighbor made this quilt as a graduation gift for a neighborhood kid, and she wanted some help with the quilting. So Dolores quilted it and bound it for her and got that all ready so that she could gift it. So it looks very nice. It kind of looks like a version of a jelly roll race of sorts, but she just took some low volume fabrics and put them together in that striped from one side to the other, and made an effective quilt. There's a lot of word phrases on there as well, so something encouraging for the recipient. So that is what we have this week. Thank you all for sending those in. I appreciate your efforts to send things in according to the guidelines, and also to consistently send things every week so that we can have this quilt show. It's just amazing. I didn't know how it was going to turn out when I first started doing it, a couple years ago. So, you know, it's been very easy to keep a consistent Finish It Friday, because you guys always have things that you want to share. And anybody who hasn't sent anything in before, feel free. Just check those guidelines out in the description box. Send your pictures on over, and you'll get to see your finishes on the big screen or on the little screen, whichever screen you watch. All right, that's what we have today. I am going to get moving on this a little bit more and start working on our next Scrappy Celebration set of blocks. and whatever else I can get my hands into this weekend. This is the weekend that I have my long arm meeting. It wasn't last weekend, so I will be doing that this weekend. Other than that, I will have the weekend fairly free to do some sewing. All right, thank you for tuning in. I will see you back here on Monday for Monday Quilt Chat. Have a great one. Bye.